go do something worthwhile. If you it ain't it ain't got to be my life. I happen to box and study physics and join the military and get over alcoholism and that right. So that's when I say I've lived more and grow up in the projects and all kinds of things. Like when I say I've lived multiple lives, that's what I mean. You don't have to live multiple lives, but you need to live some life, and it needs to have something. You you need to be exposed to things that are going to make you unhappy
Mm-hmm.
because it is from that that you learn. You don't learn when things are going well.
Mm-hmm.
You learn when things are going poorly. And so when things start going poorly, you get lessons. And then you can write. Even if you write just pure like speculative fiction, you have an idea what a character is going to do now more. You can be more realistic
Mm-hmm.
in your portrayal of the character because you can go, okay, I know what that is like. Or I can put that feeling into words. Oh, I don't know, I gotta guess. No, you don't want to be in that position. So you need to live a life.
Hey everyone, it's Corey. I'm the creator of Blurt, and today I'm excited to be talking with Ed Latimore. Hey Ed.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks for taking some time to chat. You have a really inspiring kind of entrepreneurial journey, so I thought it'd be great to chat with you today. So thanks for taking time.
Okay, yeah, man. I'm an open book. Ask away. I got all
Cool.
kinds of
So
lessons, I guess.
for people that don't know you, I think what's great is you've got a pretty impressive heavyweight boxing record, 13-1-1. I know
Okay.
you're studying physics. You're
Finished. I finished my
you
degree
finished.
in May. Yeah,
Right
in
on.
May. I got my BA in physics. So
Congrats, man. And then also you've got a pretty significant Twitter following, and you're always like, I feel like you've got a good pulse on like your audience. You're always like getting good reactions out there on Twitter. But
yeah,
the
it's.
one, go ahead.
I was like, yeah. I said it's a fun, very fun tool that rewards writing.
Yeah,
If you.
exactly. So that's why I wanted to talk to you, man, because you're also a pretty great writer. You've written a few self-published books, I think, that were like bestsellers on there for a while, and you've got a
Mhm.
newsletter. You're sharing your entrepreneurial journey, but maybe you could just share a little bit more what you're up to these days with your brand.
Right now, these days, I'm working on a course for using Twitter more effectively, particularly the writing aspect and how to generate engagement greater. Because I put out an ebook, "Engagement is the New Cocaine:
Hmm.
The Art and Science of Writing Awesomely Addictive Tweets," and I expected it to do okay. I did not expect to clear almost 20K in 6 days, and I was like, "Oh, okay, great." So, right, I mean, and I have a proof of work. Like I'm writing, and
Yeah,
it's here.
it's
Like you
happening.
can't,
Yeah,
it's not like you've got to take my word. I mean, the only thing you got to take my word on really is whether the quality of my instruction will be up to par.
hmm,
And you offer refunds. I had two refunds. That was it. So
amazing.
that's
Yeah,
standard fare. So that's pretty good. I'm working on that. I've got some speeches coming up I have to give and some classes I have to prep for. Even more for Twitter. I got approached to do a whole social media Twitter kind of course for Praxis Business. I think they're like an entrepreneurial academy. So that's going to be a fun time. Um, what else am I working on? Oh yeah, I'm working on my membership site finally. Something that I've been really looking forward to doing, and just having people be able to interact with me and get more out of it, out
cool.
of my presence, because I really feel like my life and what I've experienced, combined with, for whatever reason, my aptitude at teaching and communication makes me I'm starting to become more comfortable with the value that I have and I can give to the world. So there's that. I'm
Yeah,
tutoring kids.
that's a weird part of the entrepreneurial journey is like at first you kind of feel that like imposter syndrome or something, and then it's like it's interesting that you mentioned that because there's like some part of like the entrepreneurial part where you almost have to start believing that what you're doing is working.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I was revising my email collection because I'm actually about to do that. Put out my newsletter collection. The first 2 years, kind of my best and most potent newsletters, and I was looking at one I wrote about. how guilty I used to feel, because I always felt like if I'm smart enough to make a difference in a like scientific way, I should do that. So that's why I pursued a degree in physics. Well, that's one of the reasons. One is because, and the other is because I know math is a common thread amongst all the high paying jobs. And this was back when I thought I was going to get a job. So I was like, all right, let me make sure I can do all the math, and you can do all the math if you can do physics. So I went through that, and then I realized that my unique power, my unique ability, where I have an absolute advantage, is my life and my writing and my ability to communicate that. And I just was like, you know what? I could be a scientist, but I'll never be a top 10% scientist. I might not be a top 20 either. I'll be in a lab, or I'll end up like working for finance. It won't fulfill me, you
Mm.
know? Or I can go all in with this sort of deal and really chase it and see if I can make a living this way, if I can affect lives this way. And it really is the best decision I've ever made. And on top of that, well, one of the best decisions I've ever made. And on top of that, I'm excited every day. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I don't understand, boredom. I don't understand discontent. I mean, I understand them intellectually, for as far as my life goes, I mean, like when we get out this car, I got to get right back on things, and I'm
Mhm.
excited about that. This is a great life that I'm building, and it's affecting other people.
Right on.
You know.
So how did you you had mentioned a little bit, we were talking earlier about writing. How did you kind of get into that anyways? Obviously you've realized this is kind of a power of yours, but how did you get started or know you were a writer?
I've always wanted to write. That is never. In fact, I kind of fashioned myself eventually, because I haven't put out fiction. I wrote one fiction story, but that'll never see the light of day, man. That was terrible. That was just an exercise in seeing if I could put 150,000 words on paper, and I did it. I,
Yeah.
I did it, and it was not. It ain't publishable and it ain't readable, but it's mine, and I have
Yeah.
it. But
Cool.
but no, I really want to write fiction. That was always what I wanted to do. But I also realized that in general, I just enjoy the expression of myself via the written word. And the two writers I really enjoy modeling my, well, I guess three technically, Michael Crichton, Agatha Christie, and Ernest Hemingway. And so those are, I imagine that one day I'll be able to say I'm like the Black Michael Crichton or something. And because there's so many stories I want to write, but I know I have to sharpen and build there, and that's going to be a really fun time. And if my fiction takes off, great. If it doesn't, still great, because we live in this era, right, where if you're willing to do the work, you can build a following and you can live from your writing.
Yep.
Like I have no doubt this year, I think I was in Quebec when I said it. I said I have no doubt in my mind that I'm finally at the point now where, I can live off of my writing. Not like doing anything crazy, balling out,
Hmm.
but I can pay my rent and I can eat and I can like occasionally go to the movies. Worst case scenario,
Yeah.
if I
But
needed
that's a
to.
satisfying life. Like you're using your creativity, your life in words and
Yeah.
making a living that way. That's really satisfying.
So the way that kind of transitioned into what I'm writing about now, I've always just enjoyed communication, and I'm happy I didn't major in that, because if I had to go the other way, it would be a lot harder to find employment if I had like a communications degree.
Hmm.
But I I kind of muted that part of myself because I lost confidence in my ability to write through a series of just unfortunate encounters and people who I thought were writers not really approving of what I thought was good fiction or my mode of expression. So I got into blogging, and blogging was really my first experience at feeling an audience enjoy my words. And then on top of words, that's why I say communication in general. I really enjoy, I love speaking and presenting, and just in general putting using my personality and helping people understand things. Because aside from, you need a lot of qualities to be a good communicator, and they're all the same. They're well, mostly the same that make you a good teacher. Yeah, you need to be patient. You need to be able to reverse engineer what you're trying to say. You need to be able to put things in the most simple terms possible, but no simpler,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can communicate the idea without obstruction. You need you got to be free of the curse of knowledge. That's a big one. A lot of people who teach don't realize that not only do they not necessarily understand, you have to know why they don't
Yeah,
understand,
that's a
and
good one.
then you got to have experience navigating around that. I told one of my students last year, I said, look, I was helping a kid get ready for the calculus AP exam. I said, look, I already know all the areas you're going to have problems with because I failed this class 3 times. So I'm going to, don't worry. Let's just get at it and go. She ended up doing well, but to me, the same things that make you a good teacher are the same things that make you a good writer, and so are at the very least, uh, all good teachers should be good writers. The inverse is not
Yeah,
necessarily true, due largely in part to the personality that a
that's
lot of
great.
writers have. I think I'm one of the more extroverted writers that exists today or may have ever existed.
Yeah, no, you can be introverted or extroverted writer. I guess there's two different ways to go at it. For some people, that's the only way they can communicate, I guess, is for writing.
Yeah,
But yeah. Hey, so what was kind of the first? It's interesting because you tried to go this one route where you were trying to get I guess I'd call that traditional, like you were sharing your writing with people that you thought were going to help you get it out there more. What was and then blogging kind of became this way for you to like find a voice in the world. But what was that moment? How did you know, like, it's because usually that's like the hardest part I find is like that starting point. Like no one's listening to you, no one cares. How did you keep going? Did it take a while, or what happened to all of a sudden get you some kind of resonance out there?
I would, thank goodness, like I was saying before we started recording, I was born at the right time. like,
Mm, yeah.
because think about, I'll tell you this, I had 3 blogs before the one I have now. The difference is Twitter wasn't invented yet.
Uh,
So the fourth one, I'm able to share my posts and also express myself in a different way, build a following there, run through there, build this mailing list. Because I have such a huge following on Twitter, I can artificially jump over SEO rankings. I mean, like nothing. Like if I want to be on the first page of a topic, all I have to do is write a great article. I don't have, because people read it, share it,
right.
and the way SEO works, it's great. So I bring up SEO though because the thing that kept me going is people kept finding the work.
Mm.
I can't imagine how. Well, I know I can't imagine. I know when no one is reading your stuff and you want to be, because look, at the end of the day, if I put something on the internet, I want other people to read it. If I
Right.
don't, I don't put it on the internet.
Right.
I don't. I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to take the easy route out and say, oh, I'm writing for me. No, I'm writing for other people. When I write for me, it's for me, and no one else could ever see it. I'm not going to put that on the internet. I'm very fortunate that I went and did other things, and I understand communication in general. So using Twitter to augment my audience was just a natural, easy step.
Mm.
And that's what really kept me going, is people would find articles and they'd share them. My Facebook page is not huge, but it grew there too. I mean, my fan page, not my personal one, because people have a really weird reaction to your writing, due largely in part to the fact that when you write the way I write, you're gonna piss people off. At the very least, what you're gonna do is make people wonder, is he talking about me? So I don't do that big of numbers on my personal page, but my fan page and my Twitter page, they do great,
Cool.
very, very great.
Right on. Yeah, and so kind of related to Twitter, since you brought that up too, is that you have a great article that you wrote about like 10 insights for writing better, kind of suggestions. And one of them, you were talking about how actually writing on Twitter can make you a better writer because you have to be so concise.
Right. And I
um,
wrote that article in the 140 character era.
ah,
Now, all these people. Look, I got my K. I call it the K.
uh-huh.
Whenever they have to express your follower count with a K, because you have a 5-figure number. I earned my K in the 140 character era. So I'm legit, and and that conciseness though.
Mhm.
That's why I'm a big fan of making things as simple as possible, but no more simple,
Yeah. Mhm.
because then you lose things. But if you but all the wordiness that takes away
Yep.
redundancy, using words incorrectly. I really am a big fan of trying to express myself efficiently.
Mhm.
Physics really helped with this, because the language in physics, I mean, you are literally saying in the real world, or I'll say in the non-physics world, you can say a thing and its ambiguous meaning can tell you, or rather context tells you what it means. If I tell you to speed up or slow down, there's I don't need to tell you to accelerate, right?
Right. Right.
You understand that you need to increase the velocity. If I make that mistake in physics, that's a different thing.
Mhm.
Things weigh, you say how much does that weigh, and you tell me 100 kilograms. Bingo, got it, right? I'm not thinking about it. In physics, nothing weighs kilograms. That's a unit for mass,
Right. Right.
So it's this level of precision I had to learn
Mhm.
to, because I had to learn to communicate clearly there, and so it helped me even further, or helped me do it even more. But that efficiency, that economy of words, man, Twitter is very good for it. I mean, still at 280 characters, still good for it,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. It's good. So I'm curious, like, where do you see blogging kind of going now within, or all the, because there's news, like today, there's newsletters, blogs, and Twitter. Those are kind of like the primary writing mediums, I would say. How do you see the importance of like blogs still, or is there still like a need?
Absolutely, there's still a need. If for any other reason, look, once again, this is why I'm unique. I try to think about, like, this is when we were saying, like, where my unique advantages, and
Mm-hmm.
because I understand the idea of marketing. Like I'm never going to be a starving artist. Like, I understand
Mm-hmm.
the business side. I know that you need to be discovered by people. People need to find you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do it the easy and expensive way, pay for ads, or you can do it the long and hard way, but it's more robust. No one, you can't take my traffic.
Right.
I don't spend a dime on it. And I did that by writing quality articles and ranking well for SEO. And a big part of SEO now, it's come a long way, is your article readable, as they say, right? And readability is really important. And how do you become readable? Well, but by speaking efficiently. You know, if you have all these big words and people are like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
That's not going to help you. People are going to bounce off your article, and Google is going to recognize that. I still think blogs have a place, because words still do everything.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, that's how we communicate. That's how we decide to buy a thing. That's how we meet people, whether we speak or write. Now, do I think YouTube is going to continue to grow? Sure. Podcasts are going to continue to grow. Absolutely. But I don't think we're ever going to phase out the written word entirely.
Mm-hmm.
If
I
for
agree.
any other reason, then it's there's something really unique about the relationship you form with the creation of the product. Like, when I have to read words, I have to concentrate. I cannot passively absorb a book.
Mm-hmm.
At least if I am, that's a tremendous waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, I can't passively create a book. Meanwhile, like, I see guys with the suggestion, just walk around and speak into the app, and it'll dictate for you. And I get it from a pure production standpoint. What they don't understand is that they're removing something. I hate to use esoteric language, but they're removing something that is, I think, vital to the writing when you do that. And that vitalness is the labor of creation. You know.
Got it. Yep. Totally. Totally. Yeah, I agree. And there's also the like let alone SEO, but just like it's timeless too, because it's easy to
Right.
like it's out there forever. I guess podcasts are
I
that way
have
too. Yeah, go ahead.
I have like 4 or 5 articles. I check Alexa every now and then, and I'm still driving in tremendous traffic from my 2 articles about sobriety, my article about Wim Hof, my article about growing up in the hood, and an article I wrote about haters. That is still driving in. People are still finding me to this every day. Someone new signs
Amazing.
up to the mailing list that didn't come from Twitter. They
Amazing.
came from Google searches. And my web guy put out a when people sign up, they get sent an email. How'd you find me? A lot of people still find me via Google.
Mm.
So what I'm doing, I'm creating, but at the same time, my creation is when I'm recruiting people for me.
Mm.
That's how you build a fan base. Nobody wants to do it this way anymore. Everybody wants to pay for traffic. Well,
Right.
when you run out of money, or when somebody outbids you on a keyword,
Right. Silly.
all right, there
Yeah.
you go. Now you're in a bidding war. Way better to use your brain and hard work and create something good.
So would you say? So I know you mentioned SEO too in that article about the 10 writing insights or suggestions.
Yeah.
And I guess I had that thought where I was thinking, well, if you write something nobody wants to read, well, that's probably a good clue that you're not writing anything worth reading, right? So it's probably a good idea to like check SEO maybe, or like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And you don't have to be an expert. All you need, and I'm not an expert, right? Here's what I am. I know how to. I'm good enough to not have SEO work against me. That's it. Because when SEO is working against you, now you've got a real problem. It's like trying to ice skate uphill, and with the hill being the rankings, and the ice skates being your words. It's going to be a very difficult journey, and it's one you're not going to complete.
okay,
Way better once you get the SEO taken care of, and it's spaced well, and it's readable, and your headings are on point. You got an image, right? Now you've got SEO. You're on level playing field. Now if you want to walk, you can get there,
yeah.
right? Or run. And now running is like, or we take it downhill. That's what I have now. I have a tech guy. Our website is built on an entirely different platform than WordPress, and he did that. One of the reasons he did it is that it would load faster. And one of the things Google ranks for in SEO is how quickly does your website load.
Mm-hmm.
And by loading fast, having good readable content, having backlink links to other things, things that I don't think about. That's why I pay somebody to think about the tech side.
Yep.
But so I can just focus on writing a good article. That's how you win. And I really think the blogging allows people like me to carve out a niche, because I don't want to say I'm not. I have not yet. I'm not like a household name, but I can still make a living off my writing. And it's like I always say, all you need is 1% of the English speaking population to rock with you, and you'll live better than the other 99%. That's my only goal. Get 1% of English speakers to love my writing. If that happens, you can get 0.01 and still be in good shape.
Yeah, I always I kind of went through that where I saw competitors. I'm not the first one to create a writing app, but in my head I was like, there's 6 billion people on this planet.
Right.
You only need, so what if there's competitors? If anything, it might be a good thing that there's proof that there's something out there. So
absolutely. Whenever you see competition, that's a great. Now you don't want to go to something that's overcrowded, but when people already exist in that space and they've been there for a while, that's because there's money there. Hey, you know what it's like? It's like fishing. If you see a bunch of guys heading to the same spot, you probably should try and go to that spot.
Yeah.
If you got to eat anyhow, if you just want to go and challenge yourself, by all means, go where no one goes, and people's worms drown because no one's eating them.
So, what are your habits or disciplines for getting you to develop the writing habit? Obviously, I guess the biggest thing is you enjoy it, but what gets you to what's or maybe the opposite. You enjoy writing. So, what's the worst part of writing? What's the worst part of writing?
The worst part of writing for me personally is I think faster than the thing sometimes. So I'll go back and read, and I'm like, how did I forget that word? How did I forget? I'm just like that doesn't make any sense. So really checking over things and making sure I don't forget words. But really the worst part, there's nothing that's bad to me. I guess here's the thing, what people forget is that you consume that article in maybe 5 minutes, maybe if it's long.
Yeah.
Man, that was an hour and a half of my life just getting on paper. We're not even talking about optimizing and cleaning it up and editing and then the money I have to make sure I have somebody go behind it and make sure it is even more optimized. And that's just there. And then like I just published one book and writing was the easy part. That the editing I got to do, not when they go behind me and clean up like my typos or any passage that sounded good to me, but they're like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna really understand what you mean. Got to say this differently. That is easy. I pay people to do that. The part that second draft is really the worst part, where I'm going over it with a fine tooth comb and I'm like, what the hell was I trying to say here?
Yeah.
I gotta figure this. This chapter is no good. This blog, please. And then when I get that done, I gotta step away and then come back again and go, okay, all right. Well, it's not so bad now. Let's see what the copy editor says, and that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But that's just for creating a bigger project like the last two. But putting together blog posts, I have fun. I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun because my life, I always say that I've lived 3 lives, maybe 4 if you want to be technical. But I've got so many lessons, good and bad, from it that I can't run out of content. And then on top of that, I'm living a life right now between, trying to start a business entity and create fiction. And now I'm, right before a call, I was at the gym putting in my 2 miles for the day after I already lifted, because I got a goal, I got a fitness goal I'm trying to reach, and that's hard. And I'm increasing my chest rating. In fact, I got this book next to me, Back to Basics Tactics. So I'm always trying to do something and improve who I am, so that what I have unique to me is what I can explain, what lessons I can grab from it. That's but I gotta keep putting stuff in and take some out of it.
Yep. Yeah. So what I like about you, one thing I was gleaning from what you were saying there was that you kind of just get it on the page, which is like when you write.
Oh, yeah, man.
You just go.
That's one thing I don't have a problem with. I do not. There's, writer's block. I get it. But I'll have an idea and I'll go, okay. In fact, the biggest, what is challenging now from a pure, I guess, web design standpoint is my guys, like, my web guys, like, okay, we want to write to things that we can win on the keyword battle, because the more of those battles you win, the easier it is to win battles down the line, because your site is already ranked highly. So, we'll come up and have a brainstorming session and come up with some topics, and I'll go, okay. Oh, that looks cool. Okay. But all I got to, but the way we come up with the topics, they are from my life. It's just something I hadn't thought about writing. But it's very easy to just sit down and put something together. If anything, I wish I had more time, because writing, people don't realize that either, because they just see the end result. It's like a movie. You go watch that movie, 2 hours of your life. Man, they've been filming that thing for 3 years, and you're like,
right.
Huh? And so
that's the cool part of it. Yeah, it's like distilled knowledge, distilled experience that you can read and learn, like something amazing, or be entertained or whatever, real easily.
Right.
Yeah, but that's important. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've been very fortunate with my writing. That's all I can say is to have enough, because of who I am and what I write, that has attracted a lot of attention, and that attention feeds and grows and sustains my writing career. And I take that really seriously. I don't want to put out that my second book, not the most profitable thing to write about, but it's important to me, and I want to give something to those people that have something to say, or rather have that problem, and it's a thing I dealt with. So what else could I write about? Really, I wasn't given a choice. I just happened to have the internet.
Yeah. Cool, man. One final question for you. I kind of like to ask all the guests what advice do you have for people that are aspiring to write? I mean, you've kind of inspired a bit here, but if you had one piece of advice for people that are trying to get a voice out there, what's your advice for them?
Go do something worthwhile. You know, if you it ain't, it ain't got to be my life. I happen to box and study physics and join the military and get over alcoholism and that, right? So that's when I say I've lived more and grow up in the projects and all kinds of things. Like when I say I've lived multiple lives, that's what I mean. You don't have to live multiple lives, but you need to live some life, and it needs to have something. You need to be exposed to things that are going to make you unhappy, because it is from that you learn. You don't learn when things are going well. You learn when things are going poorly, and so when things start going poorly, you get lessons. And then you can write, even if you write just pure like speculative fiction, you have an idea what a character is going to do now more. You can be more realistic in your portrayal of the character, because you can read, you can go, okay, I know what that is like. Or I can put that feeling into words. Oh, I don't know, I got to guess. No, you don't want to be in that position. So you need to live a life. If you just come out the jump and you're some young kid trying to write, I'm gonna look at your book about dragons and go, okay, that's dragon. And I'm making a reference. I don't know if you know what I'm referencing, but a few years ago there was this big commotion about the kid that wrote that book Aragon. I think it was it was a 3-part dragon series, and he was like 14. My first thought was like, I remember like when I was 14, I was playing a lot of Final Fantasy, man, and that's what I would have recreated. But I would have no depth of character, and it showed in the movie. So, but that's just what I would say, man. Go live some life.
Awesome.
Don't
Man.
start writing until you're like 30 or something.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. That's true. Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for taking some time. We're a little out of time here. If you're not familiar with Ed, definitely hit his website up. It's Ed Latimore, EDLATIMORE.com. He's on Twitter. He's got a newsletter, some great articles on his website. So thanks again, Ed, and hopefully we'll be talking with you soon.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Right on, man. Take care.